Hi guys, it's Andrew here from Eastonmade Wood Splitters today, and welcome back to the Eastonmade channel. Beautiful day out here today. It is absolutely gorgeous. First time I've done a video in quite a while, in probably a couple of weeks. We've been incredibly busy. All right, I have been incredibly busy. I've got a lot going on. I've been really busy, so it's been good. It's been really good. It keeps me out of mischief, anyways. I got a chance to get an up close look at some of the other vertical splitters on the market here. This video isn't to put anybody down. The other manufacturers, if you buy one of their machines, you're gonna love it. It's gonna make your life significantly easier. It's gonna serve you incredibly well. You're gonna get wonderful service from my experience. This is just, I'm gonna do a video here to point out a couple of things on our vertical machine that I feel is better on it. Just so you guys have some information on why we do some of the things we do, how we do them, and why we think they're better. Like I said, guys, you're not going to go wrong buying the other guy's machine. If it's something you've had your eye on and you're set on it, by all means, guys, you're not going to go wrong. You're going to buy a good machine from the service is going to be good. It's going to improve your life. And that's what this is all about, is making your life easier and building equipment that is going to suit you and serve you well and do the job in which you require it to do. So like I said, there's a handful of things that we do differently here at Eastonmade that we try to do, this is, a lot of it's common across all of our machines actually. The first thing here is the pivots and the log lift here. I've got a lovely Nylatron bushing here. We run these in everything, every pivot on our machine. So there's one here, there's one here, there's one here, there's one here, there's one way back up in there. Everywhere that there is a pivot with a cylinder that's going to rotate, we have one of these bushings in there. The nice thing about these Nylatron bushings is they don't wear a lot. Like, these things are an incredibly long wearing item. You can buy that particular bushing, I think it's like 10 or 15 bucks. They're not expensive if you do need to replace them. From what I've seen in our competitor's machine, they do not run any kind of a bushing. They don't run a grease fitting. There is nothing of the sort. So ultimately you have a looser joint, a looser union, and it's gonna wear out faster, guys. Is it a big deal to you? I don't know, guys. That's just, we do that. Like I said, every single bushing, everywhere that pivots on this machine is gonna have a nylon bushing in it, same as on our bigger machines. And again, it's just a wear component, guys, and that way you don't oblong a hole of steel and steel. If there's no grease fitting, there's no lubrication there. So typically how that works is when you have a grease fitting in a machine part or a bushing, like on our bigger machines, we'll actually run steel. That's where you'll see a grease fitting in there. It actually rides on the film of grease. It doesn't ride steel on steel. Steel and steel contact is gonna wear drastically faster than something like that, or something that is greased. And again, it is just a matter of that's the way it is. Whether it's important or not, I don't know, but that's we do that particular, that's why we do that. And the other thing, the foot pedal, the valving part of this, I've talked about this in some earlier videos. I'm probably gonna do another video like this just to kind of give guys a refresher on it if they're looking at it. Again, this is a longevity thing, guys. This is something that's going to last a long time, or it's going to make the machine last significantly longer. This is a very similar valve to what our competitors run for the splitter function for the splitter itself. This goes a lot of log splitter manufacturers running valves very similar to these. Again, these things work good in a log splitter application. They're not an industrial valve. They are a implement valve. They are a valve to run a tool that is not going to be run industrial or commercially. We build industrial, commercial grade log splitters. That's what we do. So we try to take the necessary steps, buy the better components so they will last. So what happens is this foot pedal here on the competitors pivots on that little tiny wee bushing right there. If you can see it, it pivots right in here. And every time you push the pedal, it pulls down on this pin. This, I don't know, I think it's a 3/16 pin. It's not even a quarter of an inch, but it pulls down on that every single time you do this. It is pulling down on that one part alone, and it's putting all the force just on that. What we do, the way that we have it set up, again, we have it set up so it pulls down on this is a grade 8 chain. Pulls down on this pivot here. This is adjustable, so you can adjust the height of your foot pedal at the front of the machine. So what that does is it obviously there's nothing, you're not going to pull that apart. You're not going to do that. Up here where it actually connects onto the valve, it screws directly into the bottom of the spool, so you're pulling directly on the spool. It's a linear pull here. You're not going to wear anything out on that end of it. As we go up through this mechanism chain here, in here, instead of having an open spool under here, this is actually a pivot or a greasable pivotal ball joint. That's what it is. Same as what you'd find in your car compared to, again, these linkages in through here. Like, none of that is greasable, none of it's set up like that. They just run right on the spool, so you're not going to see that, but you will see that on the other ones. There is a Heim joint here, there's a Heim joint here, there is a bearing here. There is no steel on steel. There's no steel on steel anywhere through this chain. If you look at the way the other guys pivot that foot pedal, is pivoting on like a 5/16 bolt, guys. It's not a heavy bolt. The piece of steel is probably a piece of 3/16 or 1/4 inch steel that it's pivoting on, this bolt. And it looks like it's just a lock bolt or lock nut on the other side of it. So again, it's pivoting on just a 5/16 bolt, a small little bolt, where this is going to pivot. Again, in here is a bushing, the same as that. That pivots there on that bushing, the exact same as that, instead of pivoting on a bolt. Again, it's just a longevity thing, guys. Are you going to have an issue with it down there? I don't know, guys. We haven't been out long enough to know one way or the other, but that is why we do that. We have that set up like that so that will wear out for you. It is a nice tight joint, as a tight union, same as the Heim joint, same as the actual bearing in there. They're all, it's sort of like a, either have like a mechanical switch or a solid state proximity switch. It just, there's not a whole lot to wear out in there, and we try and do that way. The other cool thing we have on this, we actually have an auto idle down feature. This is something that we've started doing on them. This is adjustable now, guys. We have made this so you can adjust it. You can dial the throttle to whatever speed you want the machine. The auto idle, you set the range of the sensor or of the relay itself, so you can set it from up to 10 seconds, a minute, an hour, a day, and then you adjust the range from there. So when it comes to the factory, we have it so idles down 12 to 15 seconds. So if you're gonna go pick up a block of wood, move it around or whatever, you have time to go and do that. Other than that, it'll idle down on its own, and it's gonna save you a significant amount of fuel over the course of the lifetime of this machine, I would suspect, because a lot of the times you're gonna be moving around doing stuff, and it'd be nice to have that machine idle down to a nice quiet idle. So we do have that on here. The frame, the general build of this machine is not as bulky as the other guys, but it is, in my opinion, significantly stronger. So what we have here is we have 2 beams in here. So there's 2 of them. The competitors run 1 beam, and then that there is gusseted to the bottom of this beam, and that beam goes straight through all the way to the other side. So when you're pushing on a block of wood, you're pushing on the main frame of the machine, the main structure of the machine. When that knife's coming down, all the pressure is on the main structure of the machine. So the other guys, they have 1 beam up the middle, and then there is a table which is welded to the bottom frame of the machine. And if you've ever taken the legs on a table and push them, you know they're not that sturdy. They're not. That's physics, guys. That's the way it is. So that is, it's just not as sturdy of an environment for it. The other thing is they do run a splitter that has more tonnage on it. It does have significantly more tonnage. There's more push pressure. We run 14 tons, or 7. Most of them are 17. The other ones, this is good and bad. We don't run into an issue with this Axis splitting anything. It'll split just about anything you want. There's a handful of pieces you may need to screw around with, very seldom. But this leads me to the next point. This is going back to the structure. The general build of the entire machine here is our cylinders, if you look at our alternate axis, are mounted at that point on the cylinder. The other guys are mounted at the very top. So right there, when you move that moment of inertia to the top of that, you double the leverage on a frame that is half of the size. So this is just a lot sturdier system. It has to be. And like I said, like the reason we have that bolted in there like that is for wear. We don't run wear components in the slide part of this, but we don't need to. So there's absolutely no movement at all in that system. Because it's bolted there, that cylinder can't move around. There can't be any wear there. And there's a very minimal amount of wear in the wedge itself because it comes through this hub. If you look at that, it doesn't actually really touch the slide itself unless you're into a big block of wood where it's going to put a little bit of stress on, and then it's going to catch on the rail wherever it is, and that's going to be your one moment of contact when the machine is running. Other than that, it doesn't really touch the beam at all, so there's not any point having a wear component there. When we go to the smaller cylinder like this, the other thing we gain is performance. We gain a lot of performance. We have a 24-inch stroke on this machine. The other guys, you got to pay, I think it's like $600 for a 24-inch stroke. This comes standard with 24-inch stroke. So if you do want to do longer wood, you have a 24-inch stroke standard on this machine. I think their cycles, I think they advertise 3.5 seconds, and that's over 20 inches. Theoretically calculated cycle time on this over 24 inches is a little over 2 seconds now. Realistically, you're probably closer to 3 seconds because you're going to have time where you have to pull your foot up off the foot pedal in order for it to retract. So you have a faster cycle time over a shorter or over a longer distance. So that's very, very, again, very important. You're going to gain a pile of performance in doing that, and in doing that with a smaller cylinder, you're not moving near as much oil. With hydraulic, any kind of hydraulic system, the less oil you need to move, the better it's gonna be, the cooler it's gonna run, the more efficient it's gonna be. So we're able to do that, and we'd have no problem splitting the wood at 14 tons. So that's why we don't go up to a bigger cylinder. We do have a cooler on this, just because it does run the bigger 28 GPM pump that is shared with our 2228. But yeah, so that's why we have that. I'm gonna look. I think that's all the points I've got. I think I covered them all. There might be a couple of more, but again, guys, this isn't a video to put anybody down. This is a video to show you the differences in what we build compared to the other competitors on the market. Are you gonna go wrong by them? No, you're not. Not at all. And just going back to the structure on the machine, like the beam part of it, the one part I missed is if you watch some of the videos or a lot of the videos on the other machines, when they get into a really big piece of wood, you can see how much flex there is in that beam. That's one thing I noticed immediately watching the machine, is the amount of flex that is in that beam. And there's lots of videos from our competitors and from people that have had their machines that show this very, very well. If you just pay attention to it a wee bit, you'll know exactly what I mean. And again, every time a piece of steel moves like that, there's going to be fatigue. The steel is going to wear. You can't stretch a piece of steel and expect it to come back every single time over a long period. It just, at some point, it has to fatigue. Anyways, guys, like I said, that is my point. I don't want to put anybody down here. That is not the point of it. I don't want to do that. I just want to show you why you're going to buy an Eastonmade over some of our competitors, and what we have done differently, or what I feel is better. Again, it's my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt, please. Just trying to share the information that I have and give it to you guys so you can make a better informed decision on your log splitter and what machine you want to buy. Anyways, guys, if you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe button down at the bottom. I really appreciate you tuning in. I hope to see you on the next one. Take care, guys.